I'm going to read another bit from this book, which is The Story of the Irish Race by MacManus. And now I'm going to speak about the penal laws. So, quote from Professor Lecky, this is from the book, a Protestant of British blood and ardent British sympathy, says in his History of Ireland in the 18th century that the object of the penal laws was threefold. 1, quote, to deprive the Catholics of all civil life. 2, to reduce them to a condition of most extreme and brutal ignorance. 3, to dissociate them from the soil. And 4, to extirpate the race. So, MacManus adds that he might with absolute justice have substituted Irish for Catholics. So let's do that. The penal laws were spoken about by Edmund Burke as well. And he said of them, quote, all the penal laws of that unparalleled code of oppression were manifestly the effects of national hatred and scorn towards a conquered people, whom the victors delighted to trample upon, and were not at all afraid to provoke. They were not the effect of their fears, but of their security, whilst that temper prevailed, and it prevailed in all its force to a time within our memory. Every measure was pleasing and popular, just in proportion as it tended to harass and ruin a set of people who were looked upon as enemies to God and man, indeed as a race of savages who were a disgrace to human nature itself. Speaking of the Irish people here, end quote. So, Burke goes on again to say, he described the penal laws as, quote, a machine of wise and elaborate contrivance, as well fitted for the oppression, impoverishment, and degradation of a people, and the debasement in them of human nature itself, as ever proceeded from the perverted ingenuity of man, end quote. Continuing on with this quote in the book, and the French jurist Montesquieu to say of it that it was, quote, conceived by demons, written in blood, and registered in hell. So, what were these penal laws? Again, we're going to swap out the word Catholic for Irish. So instead of these laws being imposed on Catholics, they were being imposed on the Irish people, who just happened to be Catholic, okay? So, what were these laws? MacManus gives us some of these. Quote, the penal laws enacted or reenacted in the new era succeeding the siege of Limerick, when under the pledged faith and honour of the English crown, the Irish Catholics were to be protected in the free and unfettered exercise of their religion, provided amongst other things that, okay, here we go, the Irish Catholic was forbidden the exercise of his religion. He was forbidden to receive education. He was forbidden to enter a profession. He was forbidden to hold public office. He was forbidden to engage in trade or commerce. He was forbidden to live in a corporate town or within 5 miles thereof. He was forbidden to own a horse of greater value than £5. He was forbidden to purchase land. He was forbidden to lease land. He was forbidden to accept a mortgage on land in security for a loan. He was forbidden to vote. He was forbidden to keep any arms for his protection. He was forbidden to hold a life annuity. He was forbidden to buy land from a Protestant. He was forbidden to receive a gift of land from a Protestant. He was forbidden to inherit anything from a Protestant. He was forbidden to rent any land that was worth more than 30 shillings a year. He was forbidden to reap from his land any profit exceeding 1/3 of the rent. He could not be guardian to a child. He could not, when dying, leave his infant child under Catholic guardianship. He could not attend Catholic worship. He was compelled by the law to attend Protestant worship. He could not himself educate his child. He could not send his child to a Catholic teacher. He could not employ a Catholic teacher to come to his child. He could not send his child abroad to receive education. The priest was banned and hunted with bloodhounds. The schoolmaster was banned and hunted with bloodhounds. If he had an unfaithful wife, she, by going through the form of adopting the Protestant religion, compelled from a papist the heaviest annuity that might be squeezed out of him, and would inherit all the property at his death. If he had an unnatural child, that child, by conforming to the established religion, be it Protestantism, could compel from him the highest possible annuity, and inherit all his property at his death, to the total exclusion of all the children who had remained faithful to their father and their religion. continues on. If he was discovered in the act of having his son educated at home, a ruinous fine and a dungeon awaited him. If he sent his son to be educated abroad, all his property was confiscated, and the child so educated was thereby debarred from all rights and properties in the country, and debarred from inheriting anything. He was compelled to pay double for the support of the militia, and he was compelled to make good all damages done to the state by the privateers of any Catholic power in which the state was at war. Tell me that things have changed.